Hopefully this should take a short while. I'll try and keep it as brief as I possibly can because I met quite a few people last year. My name is LINHAC. I'm from Hudl, as you can see on screen nicely. Basically, one of our core missions at Hudl here is just make it easy for athletes to find moments that count and basically turning video into insights for coaches. We work, I'm just going to minimize some of these things on here on the screen. Basically, our company is growing, so these figures will probably they'll have changed this afternoon from this morning, no doubt. Roughly about 3,200 employees in 17 different countries around the world. I've given you a rough estimate of the different countries that we actually work in or we're based in. I'm not going to run through every single one of them and give you the names of every employee that's working there. That'll take far too long. But overall, within the industry, we classify ourselves as an industry standard at Hudl, and that encompasses all our products. So it's not just the company itself, but we've got over 8 million different users, 16 million app downloads, as you can see on there. And again, that number is growing by the day. 40 plus sports as well. And we don't just specialize within one sport, but we do actually learn insights from the different sports and integrate that knowledge, as I'm going to explain as we move forward. The key products that I want to talk about today and give you a really quick demo. Hudl Instat, which some of you will know, obviously, we acquired. We acquired the company Instat a couple of years ago. Hudl itself, Hudl online platform, which has been used for many years. Hudl Sports Code, which some of you will be familiar with. We did a little demo last year. Our LinkedIn Studio with that as well, which is our telestration software for that. And also Hudl Replay. The reason I picked these ones because we're actively using them within hockey at the moment. The experience of everybody in the company. So we're not just a bunch of people who've just arrived, and no offense, straight out of university, straight into the company. Most of us have got industry experience. As it states up there, 275 plus years of sports code experience. And no, I don't account for most of those. Only about 20 of those years. 400 plus years of industry experience, all the way from grassroots level up to world championships. So a lot of the analysts that you would come across and speak to if you ever phoned in will be people who actually worked on the ground, so they understand the pressures of that. Other key factors on here, 14 key sports that we work across here. I've included some of the logos of the sports at the bottom. I've taken out a lot of the football ones that they like to put in there and thrown some of the hockey in there. But as you can see, international organisation, the FA, England Rugby, all barring one of the major rugby playing nations are extensive users of the products. National Hockey League as well, obviously, the NBA. So again, mission statement, challenge, add value to every customer interaction. Every customer interaction is important. Sometimes each interaction can actually have a spillover effect onto others, such as we found last year with the Swedish Hockey League. And this, hopefully you can see that. I'll read this one out because it's quite small in there, but when early customers thinking about high performance workflows, they're always assessing two things in general. One is the insights, as in the analytics that you guys have been speaking about, which supports the evidence-based decision-making process. Evidence-based decision-making process, I've heard referred to a few times today as old school. So in my eyes, it's actually the coach's eye. So the coach's eye is massively important. And you've got to factor that in the time associated with workflow efficiencies as well. So if we can improve both of those areas and processes, we can turn customers into long-term advocates, but also we can make the work-life balance a little bit easier as well. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to come out of here now and just start off with a quick demo. And what I want to show you is the interaction between the different products that we use, and give you a little bit of an insight into where we're thinking of going next, based on what I've already mentioned regarding just that one. So regarding the insights that we're getting from other sports. So I'm going to jump into Hudl Instat. If you want any really detailed information, is that not sharing again? Just come back to it. It's okay. Sorry, I'll get it back again. Share. Yeah, there we go. If you want any some really detailed information on Hudl Instat, then I'd defer to my colleague Mikhail, who's got vast amounts of experience with this. But essentially, it'd be a starting point for me as an analyst. Going into Instat, just finding a team, and again, to emphasize the fact we don't just work with elite level teams or professional teams, we work with junior levels as well. So I've gone from last week working with 300 plus under sort of 12s to under 16 highest hockey players in the UK on the draft system, to being with you lovely people today. So I'm going to apologize for the spelling. I'm going to try and pick something local here. Again, the platform will look at the entire season. So you can choose with the video clips section in the center, you can choose whether or not you want to go last 3 games, current season, all games in the current year, or you can go to a bespoke selection of games. You'll get a summary on the left-hand side, which is averages. So I'm not saying for 1 second that LINHAC only had 27 shots on goal in the last season. And then you have a breakdown at the bottom of all the individual games where you can go into the video. And obviously the thing that I wanted to highlight in the sort of like the brief time we have is if I go into the game profile and then look at downloading the game, you can customize what it is that you actually want to go through and download. So you can choose to select obviously home team, away team, and then any of the statistics that you see on screen at the moment. If I jump back again, going into the shot maps, again, you can choose what you want to see, which will obviously fit in with each individual coach's requirements. Just trying to get rid of that second. Coming back, so if I go to the full game, on the right-hand side here, you'll see some options. So share playlists, so you can create your own playlist, download all the episodes on here, or you can download it straight to Sports Code. So by downloading it straight to Sports Code, then gives you another level then of analysis, which you can share out with a lot more people. So the actual Instat, so if you don't have an account with Instat, which most players would have anyway, but if you didn't have that, if you were sharing it with somebody else, then you need a form to do that. And this is where the integration between the different products comes in, because sitting at the core of it would be the Hudl Online platform. With Sports Code, you can download the entire game. So I'm going to again jump out of here. Once you've downloaded the entire game, it'll come into Sports Code. So you go into Sports Code and you can start manipulating in there, building out the playlists that you want to build out, and then sharing those playlists. But again, on top of that, what you'll also have is the game inside your Hudl library. So if I go into the Hudl library and just pull up the game, then the same instances that are on my Sports Code timeline are also in here. It starts to get interesting now, because at this point, you can either manipulate the timeline within Sports Code and then upload to this library. in which case you would then see some changes up here from the search or from the source information. You can also download as well. So if I come back into here, I can go back into sports code, just go into open from Hudl, find my library itself, and then I can just find the game. And as soon as I find the game, I can start to download that. Even though as soon as it starts to download, I can open the game up. You'll see the video starting to come in, but what's already available to me is all the data that's inside the game. So I can start manipulating the data immediately. And just to prove a point, I suppose on the actual timeline, I'm just going to cancel that download because I've already got that. You can also, any playlists that have been uploaded, you can download those as well. And then if I was to take this particular, let's just say I'll take this one individual player, and then if I create a new timeline for him, I'm just going to give it my own name just to show this. So I can give it my own name. I'm going to manipulate this first instance, just make it a little bit bigger, or a lot bigger, should I say, and then just change the name in here. Once I've done all of that, if I then wanted to go ahead and just upload this, I could just upload this timeline to an existing package. Once it's prepared into here, I can choose the game that I want this to go up into, upload that, and it'll just go through the process of uploading. And then if I come back out of here again, you'll now see in the data source, the timeline that I just added is now available to us in there. So essentially, as soon as the game is pushed into the Hudl library, it's then open to everybody. So any coaches who are collaborators in your team, any players on the Hudl library, they can immediately see that and start working on it. They can create playlists within that library that we can then download in sports code if we want to. We can also, the coaches who have access to Hudl Instat can go in and do more work on there, create playlists, and download those playlists, upload them. So all the time, everybody is working and able to access the actual video itself and the data. You can also upload data tables or any PDFs or anything else that you want to onto the Hudl platform. But coming back to, I'm going to finish off just with a little brief story, Swedish Hockey League. A lot of the times people think that we just put products out there and we just leave it to the customers. And coming back to what somebody said about sharing earlier on, last year we were faced with a situation whereby our Hudl replay system, which is our iPads on the bench that the coaches access, a lot of teams were having trouble within the arenas in Sweden accessing that. It was dropping out a lot of the time. So what we did in collaboration with Färjestad invited us in for a couple of days. We spent a couple of 10-hour days on site with them, stripping out the network in there with their analysts, their matches. And by the end of the 2 days, we'd solved the problem that we went in for. But we not only solved the problem, Färjestad, we'd actually solved the problem then for the rest of the arenas. And then the Swedish Hockey League, through Jesper, who was helping, managed to roll that out then to the other arenas within the Swedish Hockey League. And I'm hoping, touch wood, that everybody's had a better experience since then about accessing that. And that's not just for us, it's an open network now for everybody to get involved in. Yes, it helps us with replay, but if you're using another product and you need to access the networking at those arenas, you're going to get a much better experience off the back of it. So yeah, we don't mind sharing sort of like technological help when we can. Coming back to the data and everything else like that you were mentioning before, I'm quite open for sharing data and experience and everything with the rest of the teams if it makes the league better and makes the operations better, because ultimately it's going to come down to the individuals within each club and the individuals within our company. If we're better than, I won't say the opposition, because that's probably the wrong term, but if we're better than the other people working in that space, then great. If we're not, we're going to have to get better. So by pushing each other, hopefully it'll move things on a lot easier. But essentially, that's a really quick snapshot of the different products that we have. We haven't touched on replay, but if you want to see an example of that in action, then obviously just seek us out and we can actually show you that. Okay, hopefully I've kept to time.
Thank you.